Good afternoon, and I'm sorry, Ryan, we are, all right. Good afternoon, welcome to City Council meeting for Tuesday, June 24th. If we can start with a roll call, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor Higgin. Councillor Campbell? Councillor Carlson?
Present.
Councillor Croson?
Here.
Councillor Middleton Hope?
Present.
Councillor Parker? Yep. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel?
Here.
Acting Mayor Palladino?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Dodick? Mayor Higgin?
Present.
Thank you. All present.
All right, the City of Lethbridge acknowledges that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains and pays respect to the Blackfoot people, past, present, and future, while recognizing and respecting their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationships to the land. City of Lethbridge offers respect to the Métis and all who have lived on this land and have made Lethbridge their home. With recognitions to start to my far right, Councillor Middleton Hope.
Just simply acknowledging that you've come back in one piece.
Oh, thank you for that. Councillor Croson.
I thank you for my colleague ceding time to me because I will have a few. This month, June 1st, actually, our neighbors to the west turned 30 years old as a town. So the town of Colehurst, actually, June 1st, 1995 is when they became a town. And on next week, many of us I know are going to Tabor on the 30th to celebrate 120 years of Tabor from their settlement in 1905. So a lot of our regional communities are celebrating and having things going on. Also want to mention tonight is Saint Jean Baptiste Day. That will be happening down in Galt Gardens, and I hope people will be able to attend. And a few things I just want to mention from city staff. The rain was amazing. I mean, I think we got almost 2 inches here in Lethbridge, which is absolutely needed. But from the pictures and everything, our public ops staff was obviously working a lot on the weekend, from the trees down and from everything else. So just a thank you to everybody who had to work through that rain and ensure that the city kept running. As like I said, I know at least a couple trees down, huge ones in Henderson Lake, etc. And I also want to give a thank you to the volunteers and organizers. I participated in a Russian olive kill about a week and a half ago. Russian olive is really difficult around the river valley and around irrigation. We're seeing things in Wyoming and in Utah, not everywhere. It's not a problem everywhere, but in southern Alberta, really a concern around the river valley. And we've been told by experts that if we don't do the preventative work now, in 10 years it will be incredibly expensive and incredibly difficult to control Russian olive. And so our Parks Department and the Helen Schuler staff arranged volunteers to help out and to control some Russian olives down in the river valley. So thank you to the volunteers who gave up an evening to do that work. And then this one is a personal one, but as something for tourists, because we know that tourists will be doing more across Canada. The Hidden History walking tours are starting on the 3rd of July. They are being offered through the Lethbridge Historical Society, and they're being offered Thursday evenings and Sunday mornings. You have to purchase tickets to go. But the first one on Thursday, July 3rd is Historic Murders of Lethbridge. So I hope people will be attending the tours because I will be your tour guide and I'm greatly looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Palladino.
Mr. Mayor, I attended the KIN Canada Convention and it was held in Lethbridge this year at the Lethbridge Lodge, but also attending last Friday morning in the rain, along with Councillor Croson and Councillor Schmidt-Rempel and several administrative staff to the grand opening of the Aboriginal Housing Society new community and cultural center located adjacent to their 120-unit Buffalo Lodge residential project in North Lethbridge. The city was recognized for its support and contribution to the society and presented us with this lovely award, which they told me was for the best acting mayor in a short film. In a supporting role. So I'm hoping we can put that in our...
Why don't you give it to the mayor right now? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's not glass. Or it isn't.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, it is glass.
Acrylic.
I think it's glass, yeah. Yeah, awesome.
And you get the box too.
26 years, buddy. All right, Councillor Parker.
I cannot do that, so thank
Okay. Over to my far left, Deputy Mayor Dodick.
Excuse me, thank you. On Friday, or this past Friday, I had the privilege and actually a great pleasure to attend at the Lethbridge Polytechnic. At that time, 10 police cadets were graduating. Of these cadets, 8 of them are going to the Lethbridge Police Services, where they will undertake another 4 to 6 weeks of training before they actually are fully able to go out and patrol and do whatever work they have. There was also a cadet from the CPKC, which I like to say, Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railway, and as well as a Tabor one. Joining me were Chief Shaheen Mahezadeh, as well as the chiefs of police from Tabor and the CPKC. It was quite a formal event because they had a pipe and drummer that piped everyone into it, and we were provided with a demonstration, a drill demonstration. It was actually quite impressive of the cadets. 2 of the cadets were actually sort of given their badges by family members, being fathers who had served and continue to serve in the police services. There was many family members there, many supporters there. It was an event that I was very pleased to be able to attend on behalf of the city and bring greetings. The second event is one that just occurred on June 23rd. I guess it would have been yesterday. It wasn't that long ago. Driving in a SUV without police lights was the Chief of Police, Shaheen Mahezadeh, Blaine Higgin, Ron Sakamoto, and myself. The 4 of us were traveling in our capacity as directors or members of the Cardiac Sciences Advisory Cabinet, which for those who don't know, they're involved in the Bringing Hearts Home campaign with the help of the Chinook Health Foundation. I always remember the name, but what happened yesterday, we drove down to Medicine Hat, and in Medicine Hat, Bill Ewell and his wife Elizabeth, who have a foundation, donated $5 million towards cardiac services to be provided in the South Zone, which would include, of course, Medicine and Hat and Lethbridge as well. This is a transformational a gift, and the Ewell family is known for their generosity, having previously in January gifted the Medicine and Hat College a $5 million check as well for their programming. But the exciting news about this is that this will assist the South Zone, including Lethbridge Regional Hospital, to bring a cath lab, a much-needed cath lab, to our city, which will serve, obviously, not just this city, but also Medicine Hat and all surrounding areas. So I was very proud, as I'm sure the mayor was, and the cardiac members are there. I should note that that Dr. Zelke, who's been basically really the Easter, well, the ever-ready bunny in this thing, that absolutely has incredible energy, was there. And of course, she continues to promote cardiac care in Southern Alberta and all of Alberta because of the importance of it. So that was a great event to be able to attend. And again, I congratulate Bill Ewell and his wife Liz and their foundation for their incredible generosity and the gift of $5 million towards cardiac care in Southern Alberta. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mr. Carlson. Councillor Campbell, thank you. We'll get to Carlson yet.
Thank you, Mr. Tarlick. No, I just, the Allied Arts Council Upside Downtown Concert Series was announced a couple of weeks ago. That's happening every Thursday, which will be at CASA. It's a great event. It was amazing last year. So it goes starting next July the 3rd until August the 28th from 5 to 7 o'clock. It just has been a phenomenal success last year, and this year is going to be even bigger. July 3rd will be Veronica Rains opens, when you can go online and find out everything else as to who's coming. Congratulations to Christine Lee, who is retiring after 26 years with the Lethbridge School District. There's a big event for her that I attended, and playing for her was the LCI Jazz Band, who just came back from a little concert in Carnegie Hall. No big. So that's pretty impressive. Also, congratulations to the new renovations at La Cité de Prairie. It's a vibrant hub here in Lethbridge. For those who don't know, there's probably over 7,000 francophones in Lethbridge and area, so they're absolutely looking beautiful in that building. They're also looking forward to the new gym that's going to be built in Lethbridge as well. Also, Battle of the Badges happens June the 27th. We're at a press conference along with Councillor Schmidt-Rempel and Councillor Middleton Hope. They're going to battle. It's the Fire Service and Lethbridge Police Service is going to have a slow pitch game on Friday, 7 o'clock at Spitz Stadium. All kinds of proceeds going to their various charities. And don't forget the Dragon Boat Festival happening this weekend, Friday to Sunday at Henderson. Thanks.
Awesome. Councillor Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last weekend with the rain, thank you, Councillor Croson, for commending all of our city crews that were out helping. I've heard lots of great feedback from the community on how amazing our staff and administration were during those challenging times. It was still a pretty busy weekend. I saw some of my colleagues were at the Lethbridge Entertainment Expo, seeing Wolverine, etc., as well as I'd like to thank all the folks for National Indigenous Peoples Day for changing plans at the last minute and moving indoors, but it was fabulous. Thanks for everyone who came out. Councillor Campbell mentioned one of my favorite days of the year, Dragon Boat Festival. Starts this weekend as well as Pride. It's going to be a very exciting time in the community, and then Canada Day, and I don't think there's any tickets left, but you can always check. But the Lethbridge Bulls has their doubleheader. I will be there, so be kind to me and watch out for all the peanuts that I drop. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. I had the opportunity to attend the 6th Street Block Party on June 14th. It was a beautiful day to be downtown. The event was packed, so congratulations to the Downtown BRZ on another successful event this year. Also, congratulations to the YWCA and the opening of its HOPE program, a transitional housing program that fills a critical gap identified in our city as well as in our municipal housing strategy. With this program, women and families impacted by domestic violence have access to long-term transitional housing that supports their stability while empowering them to rebuild. At the event, Council and the city's community social development team were presented with 2 paintings by artist Fran Hutton. I have one here, and Ms. Kleisinger has the other one for the CSD team over there. These are part of a collection that was donated to the YWCA. The remainder of the collection will hang in the HOPE program rooms at the YWCA. And just a reminder that the farmers market is now on at the Agri-Food Hub on Saturday mornings, and that the night market will be starting there this Saturday. Today is Foodie Fest at Gall Gardens downtown, and if you miss the food trucks today, you can always catch them at Nikki Yuko on Fridays at Food Truck Fridays running through the entire summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel. And further to the farmers market, something that I had heard here this last week and was quite impressed. And I can't believe that I had not heard this before, but it's something I wanted to recognize are all of those that donate. Many of the different vendors from the farmers market donate their unsold goods to the local food banks. And so their generosity and care is extremely appreciated. And I've heard of a few that have done this, but it seems like there's majority do that. And so that's absolutely amazing that they've that generous support of the food banks. We heard about the Canada Day celebrations, which are going to be great. Make sure that you get over there. It's going to be some fantastic food trucks, 25 plus food trucks and more there, including the fireworks after in the evening. So Dragon Boat Festival was mentioned as well. Great if you have that opportunity. There's so many things going on here. I know at Friday night we heard about the Battle of the Badges, and I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get a few pointers from Leslie Nielsen, but I'm going to be the umpire for that game. And so I've just, I'll have one or the other be happy with me, the police or the fire, but that's all right. It goes to a great cause, so it doesn't matter who wins the results. It's the donation that goes to the charity is absolutely amazing. So. And just last but not least, I want to thank Deputy Mayor, Acting Mayor, and all of those council members that while I was away attended a gazillion events. Not that they always don't attend. We see many councillors throughout the community that are at the many different events, but thank you for the time that I was away that I missed out. It sounds like many, many different things, and so thank you very much for everyone for attending those events. And with that, we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. I have a resolution from Acting Mayor Palladino. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of City Council on June 24th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Are there any changes, Madam City Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor Higgin. We do have 2 amendments to today's agenda for Council's consideration. The first request from administration is to add an item to today's agenda, confidential verbal report entitled Water Advocacy Update. As per sections 26, harmful to intergovernmental relations, and 29, advice from officials of the Access to Information Act. The second request is from administration as well to bring forward the entire closed agenda to be the first item of business after the adoption of the agenda, so right after this item. Thank you.
Are there any questions about that? If not, we'll have it as updated to Acting Mayor Palladino.
Agenda as updated.
All right, all those in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you.
I'll move to go into closed.
I have a resolution here moved by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved that we do now enter a closed meeting at 12:49 p.m. to discuss confidential matters with respect to 14.1 as per Section 29, advice from officials of the Access to Information Act, and Section 26, harmful to intergovernmental relations. Councillor Campbell. Question been called. All in favor? And that passed. Thank you. Thank you. I do have a resolution from Councillor Campbell, a closed meeting labor negotiations update verbal 14.1. Be it resolved that City Council direct administration to proceed with confidential item number 2 as amended, and further be it resolved that Council authorize the information shared in closed session be shared with the applicable members of the negotiating team, and further be resolved that City Council direct the closed meeting presentations, discussions with respect to labor negotiations update verbal remain confidential pursuant to Section 29, advice from officials of the Access to Information Act. And with that, Councillor Campbell. Question's been called. All in favor? All right, and that is unanimous. Thank you. And I have a resolution again from Councillor Campbell that we go back in closed. All in favor? All right. Thank you. All right, welcome back to City Council meeting for June the 24th, and we'll move on to the consent agenda, a resolution from Deputy Mayor Dodick. And it is, well, by the time we finish reading this, 4 pages. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following meeting of City Council be approved and the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the same. City Council meeting from June the 10th, 2025. Further be resolved, the City Council received for information the status of directed resolutions from June 24th, 2025 with the following amendment. The Council defer the date of return of the new Council policy CAO hiring policy to the September 10th, 2025 meeting of the Governance Standing Policy Committee. Further be resolved that City Council approve the recommendations contained within the following Standing Policy Committee reports. 4.3.1, recommendation of an Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee Tourism Lethbridge Annual Update 2025. Be it resolved the City Council receive the Tourist Lethbridge Annual Update as information. 4.3.2, recommendation of Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee Asset Management Strategy. Be it resolved the City Council adopt the Asset Management Strategy as provided in Attachment 1 in principle as a guiding document. 4.3.3, recommendation of Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee, Water CIP amendments for E12 and E13. Be it resolved that City Council amend the 2022 to 2031 Capital Improvement Program CIP budget for the water utility capital projects as identified below. Project E12, Water Treatment Plant Process Redundancy Project, amend the capital budget for the expenditure of funding from 14 million to 42,300,000 as provided in attachment 1. Project E13, Water Treatment Plant Medium Voltage Upgrades Project, amend the capital budget for the expenditure of funding from 7.5 million to 24.9 million as provided in attachment 3. 4.3.3, recommendation of Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee, Economic Development Strategy and Future Investment Incentives Program Workshop. Be it resolved that City Council direct administration to incorporate the outcomes from the workshop into the update to the City Economics Development Strategy and return to the future 2026 Public Economic Standing Policy Committee by Q3 2026. And number 2, host a community stakeholders workshop and undertake a community stakeholders survey. And further be resolved that Council direct that the closed meeting documents, discussions, report, and attachments with respect to item 7.1, Economic Development Strategy and Future Incentives remain confidential pursuant to Section 26, Harmful to Intergovernmental Relations, 28, Local Public Body Confidences, Section 29, Advice from Officials, and Section 30, Economic and Other Interests of the Access to Information Act. 4.3.5, recommendation of Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee, Economic Development Services, Economic Development Lethbridge Fee-for-Service Cost Benefit Analysis Review Workshop. Be it resolved that Council direct administration develop an additional Economic Development Lethbridge Fee-for-Service Cost Benefit Analysis Review Workshop based on the outcomes of the discussion, which would include Council's expectations for service delivery at the July 10th Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee meeting. And further be resolved that Council directed the discussions, reports, documents, and attachments with respect to the Economic Development Services Workshop, Economic Development Lethbridge Fee-for-Service Cost Benefit Analysis Review, remain confidential pursuant to Section 19, disclosure harmful to business interests of a third party, 26, harmful to intergovernmental relations, 28, local public body confidences, 29, advice from officials, 30, economic and other interests, and 32, privileged information of the Access to Information Act. Further be resolved that City Council provide first reading to the following bylaws: Bylaw 6494, amendment to Bylaw 3999, the Water Service Bylaw 2025, and Bylaw 6498, Water Treatment Plant Process Redundancy Project, and Bylaw 6499, Water Treatment Plant Medium Voltage Upgrades Project. Deputy Mayor Dodick.
You see the Councillor Carlson's light blinking.
Right.
I believe he likely has a question.
Councillor Carlson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I was having audio issues. Mr. Mayor, could you reread that? Kidding.
Go back to the video. All right. Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Dodick.
Unless there are further questions, I would call for the vote.
Question has been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Next, we move to official business motions. I have one from Councillor Campbell, official business motion, Citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club presentation, 6.1. Whereas the Agenda Review Committee denied the request by the citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club, Cluck, to present their Urban Hen pilot program, and whereas any member of council can sponsor and draft an official business motion for consideration by City Council, and whereas that motion requires a majority of council be in favor to proceed with a presentation at a Standing Policy Committee meeting, and whereas Standing Policy Committees are set up to allow community groups to have an opportunity to express their points of view, allow for public input, and provide information to City Council to make informed decisions, and whereas citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club has formed an organized nonprofit organization and has expressed their interest in the Urban Hen pilot program has increased in the city. Therefore, be it resolved, citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club be given an opportunity to give their presentation at a future Safety and Social Standing Policy Committee. Madam City Clerk, the very first sentence here is, whereas the Agenda Review Committee denied the request by the citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken to present their urban hen pilot program at City Council. I would ask if it's a friendly, because it's not a rejection to have them present, it's just not at this. Does that make sense? I just think it's important that we put it to not present at council. So in the first, and I think if the words, Ryan, if you put, the agenda denied the request of the citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club to present their urban hen pilot program at a meeting of city council meeting.
At an SPC meeting.
Pardon me?
They were denied to present at an SPC meeting. Yeah.
Okay, I thought this was at the city council.
At a future SPC meeting. This was an SPC meeting
The,
that they were asking for.
They requested to present to SPC, and then remember there was that chart, and
flow
so
chart.
we said no as the Agenda Review Committee.
That could come by way of
The only
an
way,
OBM.
yeah, because the Agenda Review Committee was not going to punt it to SPC. To have it sent to an SPC will have to come through an official business motion and then have approval of the majority of council that are present at the meeting.
Correct. And it was, if my understanding, to come to a council meeting as well. That was part of it. Okay, so no need to change it. Then we do have that figured out. So open it up to questions. Councillor Middleton Hope.
Yeah, so to the mover, Councillor Campbell, this has been before SPCs and or council on at least two occasions prior to this during this tenure on council. Why is this coming back again?
Based on my discussions, that there has been a renewed interest with some of the members, and that there's been, they've also formed a nonprofit organization, and they also want to talk about food sustainability within the city. And I just wanted to give them an opportunity to regroup and bring us their reasonings. And I just for my own context, I'm not either totally in favor or totally opposed to it. I just think this is an opportunity for them to present their what I believe is an updated presentation.
Okay. When you say renewed interest, you're talking about this group. You're not talking about council.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
All right, Councillor Dodick.
Yes, to Councillor Campbell. Now, they've asked you to do this. I understand why you're doing this. There was a reason the chickens were banned and poultry was banned a long time ago. Part of the resolution said is to provide information to City Council, or at least to SPC. Now, in a case like this, what is happening is you're just simply asking this group that's in favor of having urban chickens, and even a cursory view of the internet shows that there can be significant health issues involved with respect to having urban chickens. That's irrespective of if they're isolated in one backyard or that. So it seems to me that if you're going to be assuming that the majority of council here would support this, at the very least, there would have to be some sort of health information provided so that there could be some indication as to whether or not it makes sense for SPC to kick it up to council should it be approved, bearing in mind that under the Municipal Government Act, one of the mandates in Section 3 requires us to look after the health and safety of the citizens. So my question is, and of course you can't answer, unfortunately, but do you know if this group is going to present any evidence, not their own say-so or their own information as to the health issues that may be involved in raising chickens, not only to their immediate family members and to neighbors in the vicinity and to citizens in general?
I would suspect that will be part of their reasoning why why they think that their project should go forward, at least a pilot project, and I'm sure they will cite some kind of data on health. But you're correct. I don't know the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through my calendar because I'm trying to figure out the timing of this. Maybe it's through you to Madam City Clerk. If this proceeded, do we know what the timeline would be? And I know we're kind of challenged by summer schedule and an impending election. So I'm just wondering, if this passed, would it be in this term, or would it be scheduled for the new year or the fall?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Carlson. I guess that would be up to council when they would want to have this at committee. There's only one committee in July and one in September for safety and social, and I imagine that's where it would go. So council can put that in their motion if they please.
So there is one in July and one in, do we know when the September one is? Sorry, I couldn't find it on my calendar.
September
speedily.
3rd.
September 3rd. So that presents some challenges. And if as Deputy Mayor would like other folks talking about health and safety issues, might be difficult to schedule in July at this time. So just curious about timing. Thank you. Thanks for bringing this forward, Councillor Campbell.
And just as a reminder, the chair of Safety and Social might want to have a say as well as when that was scheduled.
Because we don't know what's all on the agendas at this time. So, okay, thank you.
And just further to that, Madam City Clerk, if this goes to SPC, so Standing Policy Committee, which would come to council later, if it's voted on at the SPC as forwarded to a council, this council is going to look different if it was to be in September. Is there the council meeting, when is the council meetings in September? Just to make the decision, because...
The council meeting in September is the 16th.
Okay, so we're still okay. Okay, no, thank you. Councillor Croson.
Thank you, Mayor Higgin. I see Mr. Enns is here, so I have a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. Because I'm looking at this a bit differently, I think. I think one of the reasons this has come back around is the conversations that you had with Cluck during the creating of the new animal care bylaw. Would that be accurate, that you had numerous conversations with the group at that time?
Yes, we talked to it. We were instructed as part, we came to a standing committee, I believe, and asked if chickens is one of the things we should look at during our animal review, and we were told yes to do so. So the way we approached it is we talked to the individuals that had come previously to present this, and we asked, are they still interested in this? And if so, there's a number of things they should be doing. They should be getting a nonprofit organization. There's a number of things such as health or whatever that they should address, et cetera, et cetera. We also indicated to them that they should be looking forward to a program wherein they're doing most of the work, the city's not paying money for it, and we could be a backstop and we could assist them in saying, this is the type of things that a program should have, but leave it up to the council here to decide whether they want to have this. The only concern I have is, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but I believe this organization has had some changes, which I'm not exactly sure who's sitting there. There's some individuals that we talked to previously that now have moved on, and it's also my understanding that there was a difference between the two reports that went to the standing committee. The first report we had seen, the second one I hadn't seen. So I'm not exactly sure now what at point that who's leading this particular charge, and we've kind of lost track of some of the individuals that we were dealing with, is what I'm going to say.
Right. So, but looking back at the November report coming in, one of the things discussed was not a full program. They would be presenting on whether or not to do a pilot program. They would be, as you said, they would be responsible for the development of a community-based program. They would be responsible for helping to find funding, not the city. And the group you spoke with, whether the group has changed or not, are aware that those were some of the requirements that would be expected, even in a presentation to council.
Definitely, definitely. We let them know exactly what the different programs that are successful in different communities are. They should look at shadowing some of that. And if they want us to support it, they had to not support it, but say that this program looks like it's a good program, right? We're not supporting either or. We're helping this group come to council, as that was what we were requested to do, and basically gave them a list of things that if they want us to say that this is a good program, they should definitely, when it comes to health, address a number of different items.
So you had some of those conversations
We had
with
those,
them?
it was about a year or so ago.
Yeah, well, things
that
take long in council.
It's been a long time since we've been discussing, yes.
And would you think there was an expectation with the group you discussed or talked with last fall that they would be coming to an SBC to present?
Yes, that was one of the discussions, and some of them didn't know what the process was and wanted to go forward. So we explained to them what the new process was, because I think the last time this came, we didn't have the standing committees and the like, right? So we've explained the process to them. Yeah.
And you've also explained to them that even if they were allowed to present, there would be no guarantee of
Oh,
moving
definitely,
forward.
definitely. We told them, yes, no, they have to go forward and make their pitch and show that the program is a good program and try to convince council of that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Higgin.
Thank you, Councillor Parker.
And actually, Mr. Enns, I do have a question for you. Is having chickens right now in Lethbridge an illegal activity?
Yes, it is. Under the new bylaw, it is you would not allowed to have chickens.
Is there anyone in this community at this time that have chickens in their backyards that you know of?
That we know of. We've had a couple of, I know that the animal shelters had a couple of names and addresses passed to them, and we passed them along to do their investigation on it.
And what is occurring right now with those?
I'm unaware of their investigation. They'll report back whether they need to write tickets or deal with it in a different type of way. They normally, when there's chickens, like a lot of things we do, we don't go in there handing orders and tickets and whatever. We go in there and we say, you're not allowed to have this. We give them time to move it on and to comply with the bylaw, right? So if you're telling me that there's people with chicken, I'm sure there's people with chickens out there. And we have gone after a number. We brought one here, actually, to City Council, where we went after individuals. So we do go after individuals where we get the complaint and people aren't happy that they have chickens. The animal shelter will go and investigate, and if possible, they will bring some kind of legal action against them.
Okay, I don't want to make this sound too simplistic, because I recall, and I don't know if any of my colleagues can recall, but I remember if a chicken, it wasn't a matter of like you got a cat or you got this. A chicken is actually a very serious offense, and I do believe that someone just can't even go slaughter their chicken. There's cost. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was like close to $1,200 would be cost to put down a chicken. I remember this at a meeting we were discussing. And it isn't a matter of just like you got to get rid of your chickens. This is quite a process if found.
Oh, there's provincial regulations too.
Can you explain that? Can you explain that?
Yeah.
Explain exactly what would happen.
Well, what would happen right now if people didn't have chickens?
The people did have a chicken. It's just not a matter of, okay, well, I guess we're having dinner, something extra for dinner tonight. But no, I'm joking aside, but it's quite a serious thing through Alberta Health and all that with these chickens. And am I correct on that?
Well, it is correct. No, you are correct. And that's one of the reasons we told them when they bring this program, they better address these type of issues. But if you're saying whether or not the animal shelter is enforcing this, yes, they are. But like I said, they will go first and try to convince someone to remove the chickens. And I know, especially with the new bylaw, because our new director out there of Community Animal Services has a lot of unique ways to solve problems, and that's one of the reasons we came forward with the new bylaw that council passed, because it gave us a few other ways to go after it, orders and other type of things, right? So they have some new tools in their toolbox, and they're learning how to deal with some of those tools, and I am as well, because they're giving me some very unique charges and stuff. So they do go and they do deal with it. If someone has said there's chickens there and they don't want chickens there, they will deal with it. They will first try to convince them. If not, they will take some kind of legal action. And that is actually one of the reasons why we ended up here in front of council before,
right.
Because they tried a unique way to go after them. Now I believe the appeals are going to be with an appeal board, so we don't have to waste council's time, not waste council's time on that, but that's something that should be did with an appeal board. But they're doing unique ways to try and address this, and the bylaw has a bunch of different ways to address it, and we're learning how to use it properly.
And the other reason I'm asking, some of my colleagues and I have spoken about, we've seen things on social media, and so there's a lot of things, a lot of misinformation, and I just want to make sure, like, if someone's even like building a chicken coop, they have all the right to build a chicken coop, like, and then no one should be afraid of that, and they shouldn't be shunned and all that. I think as soon as chickens occur, that's when we get concerns, or we get calls, or we see things and we say, oh boy, I don't know what's going on. So And so I think a lot of people in the community thought this was being driven by administration. And I think you showed clarity today that this isn't being driven by administration, which I think is important to be said.
I find it interesting because the last time this came up, people in the community said administration was against it, and we had our thumb down. This way, people are saying we have our thumb down the other way. We do not.
I know, and and I've been telling people that as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Enns.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Middleton Hope.
A question for Mr. Enns in a second. I just wanted to touch on what Councillor Parker had to say in regards to you can build a chicken coop, you just can't have chickens in it. That would be called a playhouse, wouldn't it? All right. You said, Mr. Enns, that you alluded to the fact that the animal shelter does the investigations of breaches of bylaw in regards to chicken ownership or chicken possession in the city. That'd be uncooked.
Yes,
okay.
uncooked, you bet.
All right, so our bylaw enforcement does not manage that.
No, they don't, but we are involved in it because we give them legal advice. Like they have an in-house prosecutor, our department, in fact, it's one of the reasons I think our department moved to legal services to have full access to all the power that on the legal side to deal with some of these issues. And that's one of the things we're doing. We're trying to get a more strong, powerful type of way to deal with bylaw infractions and the like. It takes a while to do so. So no, they're not. We don't leave them out on their own. I have talked with them on a few occasions about how to address this. They've asked me, well, can I go this way? And I've suggested to them, let's go this way. It's probably a quicker way to do it. Stuff like that, right? So no, we definitely assist them in terms of that, but they are the ones that go out and investigate and issue the.
They have the authority under the bylaw.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
so in regards to that, do we have any inclination whatsoever, should we decide to move this forward and it actually gets passed and we're allowing chickens in the city, or we decide not to allow chickens in the city, either way, what is our cost of enforcement going to be? Do we have any idea? Have we thought in terms of, all right, if we go ahead and we do this, then this is what the result is going to be in terms of cost passed on to the citizens?
Well, it's not just chickens. Like with this new bylaw, we now have cats.
Okay.
And we have a number of other things we're doing under that bylaw. And if you recall, when we were in here and we talked about resources, and you might even brought up the time, because you've always been helpful in terms of resources for us to enforce these type of things. We indicated at the time that we would take on the cats and all these other things and come back, if it's overwhelming amount of work, then come back and say, you know what, we need some more resources to deal with all these things. Okay. So presently, they believe they can deal with this, and they're keeping records in terms of their response and everything else. And definitely, if we need both chickens, cats, and other animals, we need more resources. We'll be coming asking for some.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Councillor Schmidt-Rampel.
Wait.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Mr. Enns, for being here today to answer questions. So I'm understanding correctly, in working with this group and in council working through the new animal bylaw, we have built an expectation, because it is in the bylaw, that this group, the Cluck Group, or another group can present their proposal to an SPC for an urban hen project. That has been something that's been built in.
Well, the bylaw has a permitting process that we can allow. Yes, there's a way, permitting for a lot of different things. If someone wanted to have a petting zoo at a birthday party, whatever, we can do that. But we also indicated to the group at the time, we would not be issuing a permit without getting
council's
yes.
Yeah,
council's
so
support.
that's my next question. No pilot can move ahead without council's approval, but presenting to an SPC is the first step in the process, and that is permitted under the new bylaw.
That's
a group
correct.
can come forward to do that.
Yes.
Okay, so, and what we're talking about today is whether or not the group can present to an SPC.
That is
That's
correct.
all we're talking about today.
Yes.
Thank you.
I see no further questions, and thank you for that. That is absolutely just the reason we're here is, can they present at an SPC? That's the vote. It's not about the chickens. But all right, with that, to open debate, Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, thank you. You just pretty much said it right there. This is why I brought it forward. I said I believe they should have the opportunity to present. Whether you're for it or not, or against it, let's find out all the information. Whether there's disease or not, whether it's a bylaw, they should have the opportunity to present before an SPC, and that's what I would ask for your support.
Councillor Croson.
As was noted, this is not about whether or not you agree with chickens. This is a process question about how people actually get in front of SPCs and whether or not we actually want public groups to present to the SPCs. And I think when we designed the SPCs, the idea was it would be the opportunity for the three groups, administration, council, and the public, to have conversations. And it is at that SPC the conversation could be had, and then the decision is made at that point. But all this is about is, do we permit this group to come forward? And all the questions people are asking about health, about all those things, would be asked to that group at that SPC. So I'm hoping my colleagues will support this, because this is much more about community involvement and not about chickens.
Councillor Dodick.
I disagree with those comments. The reality is that SPCs, as Councillor Carlson has indicated, theoretically allow public to come to present to an SPC. The trouble with and the inherent weaknesses of SPCs is exactly that it allows the public to come in and present on issues that the council may not, or that the public may not have sufficient information on. The resolution as framed talks about provide information to the SPC to make informed decisions. It doesn't talk anything about ensuring that we have the appropriate experts there, or people with expertise that can speak to the issues that probably likely led to the banning of chicken in the first place, and to the bylaw that we still have in place right now that bans chicken inside. I think you're creating an expectation to the group, if you allow them to present to SPC, that it will then be favorably received. It's just that there's a flaw or a gap in the system. This, allowing the group to come in, will answer nothing other than their belief that chickens are something that you want to have in your homes. It doesn't address, as I said, the other issues which would involve expertise. So if the official business motion was drafted in a different way, and there was expectation or at least some sort of recognition that some people with expertise in the safety area would be present and presenting at the same time, to which council can ask questions of, might be a different thing. But as constituted, I can't support this resolution.
Were you wanting a change to the current motion? No? All right. Councillor Parker.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you did bring this forward, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm going to support it is because we have SPCs for a reason, and it gives an opportunity to the community to come speak about an issue, but it allows anyone who wants to speak on the issue for or against it. And it's also up to the committee, if they want to request experts in the field to come forward, they can come forward. As chairman of that committee, I would, if I was on making the agenda with the deputy city clerk, I would request as much expertise at the table at that time. So I don't think it's something we should rush into. I don't think it's something that we, just because an election coming up, we should have it at the next month's meeting or the meeting after. If you're going to do this right. But here's the dilemma, and this is why some people don't like the SPCs. Because at the SPC, you could easily have 4 people say they do not support urban hens or chickens, but council can overturn that. Council can overturn that in a second. So you pretty much took all the work of that SPC and threw it out the window. And so you trust the committee to make a recommendation, but at the end of the day, it's up to council as a whole. So we could get to that point where I can already see it happening. What's going to happen is it's probably going to be a tie vote, or it's going to get turned down at SPC. It's going to come to council. The same discussion, we're going to say we want to invite experts. We'll have a public meeting, not a public hearing, but a public meeting. And it'll probably be in February of 2026. And then the Herald will do a poll, and the poll will show, well, this is what's going to happen. The Herald's going to do a poll. It's going to show 95%. And then people are going to be all divided in the community, and Mr. Enns will be here again. And then someone's going to ask the question, when can they come again to an SPC? Well, 6 months. Well, is that procedural bylaw? And then whether a governance expert over here, hopefully she wins the election. And so we're going to be going down this whole thing. But the principle, the thing is, we have to allow someone to have their opportunity to speak when requested. And that's the moral of the story. And whatever happens, happens. And so for that reason, I will support it.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I'll step out of debate. Most of what I was going to say has been said, but I will support having the conversation. For me, it's all about timing. Is it next month, the month after, or February 2026? I think I don't mind having the conversation. I just want to have a good conversation, not a rushed conversation. So thank you.
Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. And much like Councillor Carlson, much of what I was going to say has already been said. We do need to listen to the people we serve. When we don't allow community groups come present, we appear closed off, uninterested, or unwilling to engage. I'm wondering if Councillor Campbell would entertain a friendly to this, in that we also invite health experts in to discuss and address the issues that Councillor Dodek or Deputy Mayor Dodek has stated. So now we not only have members from the citizens of Lethbridge Urban Chicken Club, but we also invite health experts to speak to the benefits and detriments of urban hen farming. And vaccines. No, urban hen farming. Because I do think we need to have that in there. I would think that the CLUT group is already considering that, but as that is a specific concern that Deputy Mayor Dodek has, let's ensure that that is in there and being addressed.
Okay, that's fine. Again, that's, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll just leave it at that, sure.
Okay.
All right, so we do have the friendly, it should be added, and then questions can come
Do
from
we
that.
want
Invite
to
health
put a
experts
specific date on the
to
next
speak
SPC
to the
meeting?
benefits. And I think the date would be tough without knowing when we can get the health experts here, is my own opinion. And so, and it's up to the chair, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm speaking on behalf of the chair of the SPC, but I am not the chair, so it would be up to that chair as far as a date and for that.
Okay. So we'll leave it as is, sure.
All right, any questions? I'll entertain questions on the amendment. Go ahead, Councillor Bidlino.
Actually, we'd advanced the process, so.
But there's a change, so that's why we're going to questions. But if you have no questions?
No, I have questions.
All right.
Actually, I'd like to compliment Councillor Parker on a very illuminating discussion as to how this process is likely to go. This question actually is directed at the city clerk. Have we not had, during this term on council, have we not had at least one, if not two, presentations from this group in regards to housing of urban hens on properties in the city of Lethbridge?
I'd have to ask Mr. Enns to address that question. I know that you had a hearing, council, on chickens or
When
poultry.
Mr. Leclerc had an opportunity to present.
Yeah, in a hearing, which is different. Yeah. So maybe Mr. Enns can address that. I don't remember.
He's scrambling,
Apologies.
sorry.
My memory says no.
Sorry, I'm going through all my notes here. They're all, there was one in September of 2018, and then there was another one, trying to think here.
It was.
Sorry, I think I brought the wrong file. There was one, there was one in 2018. I'd have to get back to you on the other date. I thought there was two, but maybe maybe it was they came and just discussing. Maybe we
Okay. That gives me an idea. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Dodek? Deputy Mayor
I've
Dodek?
gotten over it. No, I have a question on the amendment is, I understand what Councilor Schmidt-Rempel is trying to do, but who's doing inviting? Who's doing the inviting? It says, and invite health experts. Is that, obviously, it's not the clerk's office. They're not in a position to determine what an expert in terms of the clerk's office. So what does that mean? In other words, how does that work? How will it work? I understand what it is, be given an opportunity to give their presentation, but then it says invite health experts. So who does the inviting?
I would suggest that perhaps, being that Mr. Enns is an expert in the area of bylaw and bylaw enforcement, perhaps his team might have some insight into who those experts might be insofar as public health experts around urban hen farming.
Okay, well then, while he's walking up also there may or may not be a cost associated with getting, for example, if it's health experts, if it's medical doctors or whoever, diseases control and that sort of stuff. Like, how would that be addressed?
I'm not, actually, I'm texting one of my staff members who did some of the research, who indicated that from understanding, AHS will not form a position on urban hens. So it won't be someone from AHS. I'm not sure exactly who would be the one to, yeah. And we could double check that, but
Yeah, and
AHS
even
may
if it's
not
not
want to make a.
AHS, it might be somebody from the research station or from Canadian Food Inspection Agency. We have both of those agencies in town. We might be able to reach out to them. Somebody from the University of Lethbridge, somebody from Lethbridge Polytechnic. Certainly, I think that that would fall into an operational. And we're just inviting to speak to it or attend and speak towards it. Thank you.
Who's doing the inviting?
I think we're still going to the question, who does the inviting? Is that the chair, or the question is not how they're going to get here?
Well, and that thing, I would think that that is something that the chair of that committee could do with the staff as he's organizing the agenda.
So did the chair of the committee want to speak?
At the end of the day, I know exactly what's going to happen. If we have all the experts here and it's going to come to council and the council is going to want more. Anyway, I will do the beckoning of whatever my colleagues recommend.
All right, I see no further questions, so I'll put back to debate. And if anybody does want to debate on it, I think we've pretty much heard the debate. And so to close debate, Councillor.
Yeah, I just wanted this group to have the opportunity to present, let the facts present themselves at a next SPC, and we can have all of these questions that we've been asking around here. But this whole point of this, is it a yes or a no? That's all I'm saying. Is it a yes or a no for this group to come before an SPC?
For another 6 months.
Yeah.
All right, I think the question's been called.
Yep.
All right, all in favor? And those opposed? All right, 2 opposed.
Okay.
Oh, Councillor Carlson? In favor?
I was in favor.
Thank you. That passes 7-2.
Make chickens great again.
All right, we have no bylaws or committee submissions, or administration presentations. Responses, which you do have. I see that you have within your package. Is there any questions on that? Okay. If not, we'll move to City Council updates. Are there any updates? City Council updates. Did you have administrative question? Okay, so you have a question on the administrative inquiries and responses? A comment? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Dore.
So that's 11.5. Yeah, 11.5.
Regarding potholes?
Yeah, and
Okay.
the reason I want to make a comment about that is that we sit around this horseshoe and we talk about governance issues and things like that, and sometimes we lose sight of the fact that people are out in the real world and having problems that deal with the infrastructure of our city. And an example is that someone sent me, I don't know if you guys got a copy of this, but there was a little letter came in or a message that says, I understand that you plan to bring up the sad state of our roads at council this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've always advocated that before we ever think about a third bridge, we should fix what we have and fix it right. There's a section of University Drive between Micmac and Safeway southbound that were repaired for some unknown reason. The results worse than the original. Drivers swerve around these areas. Thank you for bringing this up. Now, the reason I did bring this up is because I also do this slalom. Some of the cases are really bad, and sometimes it feels like we're not treating this seriously. You say potholes, and the initial reaction is to have a smile on your face. Ha ha ha! Everyone's got potholes. You got bad wind and that sort of stuff. But seriously, the reason this inquiry is there is that people are told to phone 311 and give a very specific location of where the pothole is so that they can be addressed. Now, in reality, people driving on the roadways, including myself, might see one that I've just about fallen into, and then by the time I get home, I say, well, I was at 11th Avenue and 12th Avenue, and then all of a sudden it falls by the wayside. So I'm asking administration to see if there's a way that the drivers on the streets, including bus drivers, can pin locations, particularly the really bad ones, and at least give us an idea of when some of these might be repaired. So it seems like a minor issue, but for many people, it's not. We spent a lot of time just talking about chickens. We've had polls on that before. We had one, a scientific poll. And so I want at least a little bit of time spent on something that is affecting people more than councils or more than people realize. And that's the infrastructure, the roadways. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
I'm sorry, I was in for the next.
All right.
Next update.
And Councillor Croson, is this regarding the inquiry? Oh, the updates. All right. So move to updates. Councillor Campbell, go ahead.
So there was this chicken. No, okay. This is the Highway 3. This is I'm on the Highway 3 committee, the twinning committee. Just want to give an update that a lot of new industry members are on board, and they're continued in a positive economic development. Things are moving ahead, but with major road construction, it's very, very slow. Planning, terms of references in certain areas of the Highway 3 twinning project are to be presented to the government. That's the thing that has to be done. And also there's one other thing that on some sections where it looks like the Highway 3 has been completed, the road is still closed, but that's just the process of building roads. Sometimes you see a road and it looks like it's done, but it has to sit there for a period of time. So some people are getting frustrated about saying, why is that road not open? And that's why it still needs time to heal and process. So again, things are moving along, but it's a slow process, but it's going to be exciting once it's all completed. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Croson.
Thank you, Mayor Higgin. On the 13th, February, Friday the 13th, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel and I went up to Okotoks to an event and was able to sit through a strategic AI presentation. I do not use AI as much as some of you do, but this was a presentation that has actually made me really want to get using it, but also made me realize all the other issues around, the water use and everything. I have a bit of information on it if any of my colleagues wish to get it. The interesting thing is the presenter who does presentations around the world is Etta Cartston and is available for presentations and can model it for different organizations. And she not only spoke about the advantages and different AI you can use, but also talked about some of the concerns. And one of the concerns we discussed at the supper afterwards was actually data centers and how quickly data centers are developing, perhaps before municipalities think about the land use and the water use and the electrical use around them. So that's the one part I also want to bring back here is as we're looking at our land use bylaw, it is an area we might want to think about. Not saying somebody's going to quickly want to put up a data center here, but it is something that we and all other municipalities must consider as we're moving ahead, as AI is becoming much more of a growing concern. So I just want to bring those two parts up. And if you are interested in the information from that presentation, either one of us can speak to it. Me, from somebody who doesn't use it as often, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel uses AI a lot more than I do, so you get two very different perspectives on the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. On June 11th, Councillors Crowson, Middleton, Hope, and I attended the Alberta Municipality Summer Leaders Caucus. Certainly an opportunity to connect with other members in our region, as well as members of Alberta municipalities. And some of the discussions we had were on property taxes, the Water Act, police governance and funding, changes to the municipal government and local authorities election acts, recall of municipal elected officials, and municipal election resources. For anybody who's thinking of running for council this fall, Alberta Municipalities has some great resources up on its website, and I believe Councillor Crowson will be submitting a written report on that soonish. Last Thursday evening, I was also able to attend the South Grow AGM. They have some impressive 10-year plans that they talked about, and they've worked on a number of initiatives over this past year. For members of council who are interested in that, I have the QR code to access the full AGM package and all of its materials. And as one of the police commission reps to council, I wanted to advise that on June 16th, Chief Medizadeh was found not guilty of 2 misconduct charges in relation to a lunch meeting he had with the services chaplain more than 4 years ago. So I wanted council to be aware that that decision has come down. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to add something, and I guess it's more future than past. For any of my colleagues, I'll be traveling during the Stampede. The Stampede seems to be a time where many elected officials get together and chat about different priorities, et cetera. And it's a time when most ministers seem to be in one area. So I want to reach out to my colleagues here and just make sure that if there's anything that you want discussed beyond our priorities that we do have, if there's a question that you may have, there's going to be many different ministers there during that time. Just wanted to make sure that if there's something that you have, a question you may have, and I'll be meeting with that particular minister, please reach out to me, email me, let me know what questions you may have so that I can address those when when I am up in during Stampede. Thank you. All right. With that, I have a resolution from Councillor Crowson, closed meeting, water advocacy update verbal. Be it resolved that Council direct that a closed session presentation occur at the July 10th, 2025 Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee regarding water advocacy, and further be resolved the City Council direct that the closed meeting discussions with respect to the water advocacy update verbal remain confidential pursuant to Section 26, harmful to intergovernmental relations, and 29, advice from officials of the Access to Information Act. And I will say that access to information is going to take me some getting used to. Thank you, Councillor Crowson.
The rain on the weekend was amazing, but it doesn't end our concern that we will always have with water. I will call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.